why would they leave an air-conditioned couch where they were talking with their buddies, playing their favorite game, doing whatever they want with Uber Eats showing up 5 minutes later, and they can click a button to get anything from Amazon immediately? Why would
Right.
they leave that to go sit and get yelled at in a terrible cubicle with bad lighting doing something that means nothing? Why would they do that?
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Infrastructure Network. My name is Chad Smeltzer. I'm your host. Today's guest is Zane. I'm not going to try and pronounce your last name, Zane, but you're with Phoenix Engineering. Thank you so much for being part of the show.
Hey, man, looking forward to it. Greatly appreciate your time.
How do you pronounce your last name?
Zane Pucylowski, and it's kind of cool. As a kid, I carried around a card and I would hand it to my teacher and say, "That's me," and they were like, "Yeah, sure." So that's how it worked from there. The interesting thing is my family actually lost a few syllables in Ellis Island, like a lot of people did. I assume we probably told him our name, and the guy was like, "Nah, that's not your name anymore. Here's your new name." So that's what we're running with now.
Wow. Yeah, I wasn't going to try and mess with it because I've been known to butcher some names up before and it never goes well. So,
It comes in handy. I'm easy to find, and then sometimes that's not as handy because I'm easy to find.
right. So, how did you get in civil engineering, man? Let's start from the beginning. Where
Well,
you went to
yeah.
college?
So I grew up. My dad built houses and developed subdivisions, and so I was around that basically my whole life. I've done everything I could to get out of construction, and I'm back in it every single day. And my dad used to think that was pretty funny. I went many, many years ago. I remember I was standing in knee-deep mud tying rusty steel together so we could pour a foundation. And one of my dad's subs asked me, "Hey, when are you going to take over your dad's business?" And I was like, "Screw this, I'm going to college," right? Because that's what we did in that age. I'm a Gen Xer, so that's what you did. You had to go to college so that you could make a lot of money, right? So I
Right.
moved to Mississippi State, and I'm sitting there doing all the entrance paperwork and stuff. And for some reason, I'd initially filled out civil engineering, and they're like, "Okay, here's some of your first classes." And I'm like, "Well, that looks boring, and that looks boring, and that looks boring." So I actually changed my major to mechanical engineering. And I did it because I didn't know what the hell I wanted to do. So I knew that in looking into it, I literally could do anything, right? I could work in industry, I could work in power, I could work on piping, I could work on
Right.
structure, I could work on product design. I didn't know what I wanted to do, so that's the route I went. Now, what's interesting is over the many, many, many years of my career, I ended up out here running an engineering firm. Phoenix Engineering is my firm that was started, I don't know, 20 something years ago now. And almost all of our work is structural, right? So I've basically become a civil structural engineer by experience over 100 million projects and things that I've stamped over the various years. So
Wow.
now I get
That's
to deal with it nowadays because we're having a lot of issues with discipline specific and people trying to cordon off who does what. In the old days, as a PE, most of the state laws were written that you practice in areas of competence, and if you're not any good at it, you don't do that. Well, of course, what happens when we involve humans? People take that to the extreme, and we all get in trouble and get punished for it. So anyway, a lot of times, like right now, I'm in an argument with the state of Illinois. They claim I have too much experience, and they will not issue me a PE license because I have too much experience in structural, and I have 46, 47 other PE licenses, and they're like, "Nope, can't have it because you should take the structural exam." Oh, that
well,
makes total sense. I mean, I've been doing this for 25 years. Why don't I go back and take the structural exam on pavement and asphalt and things that I don't do so that I can do rigging and mezzanines and plant additions that I do for like 20 something years now. So anyway, that's just one of the many things we could get into.
it's definitely a lot. And this all kind of started with us on LinkedIn. That's how we connected with a post. I was obviously my experience is completely different than yours. You're on the other side, but I was exposed to the municipal side, on the roads, water, wastewater side, where I've never gone to be an engineer, never wanted to. And frankly, I wanted to get out of public works and municipal completely, kind of like you. Just wanted to build businesses, but I got sucked back into the sewer side and started doing sewer analysis and sewer planning and contracts and projects and stuff like that. And it just kind of evolved. My dad started early. with me, I was 15 running, he was running a wastewater plant down in a small town in Pennsylvania. So that's how I got exposed to the whole public works side.
Oh, that's cool.
But yeah, that's how I grew up around that, kind of like you did. And then, I started to look at the way engineers are managing projects, as I was the middleman working with the project owners directly, but I'd also work with the engineers too. And I was like, man, what is like these guys were always stressed out, always like running and gunning. Like literally, I'd watch them sweat in meetings, just like, what is going on? Like I felt bad for them in some situations because I started early and I was like, man, these guys must make a lot of money. And then I started getting told, like, Chad, they don't make the kind of money you do in sales. Like, it's not the same. Business development is a whole different world than engineering. And I'm like, really? These guys are making big decisions. Like, I at least thought they made 150 to $200,000, right? And they're like, no, 70 grand, 60, 70 grand is normal. I was like, what? That was wild to me. So just eye opening, but getting to hear your story too of how you started at your own firm and all that stuff. And that's a whole nother side of
So
it.
many routes we could go here, Chad. So there's like
Yeah.
a really good, I think it's out on YouTube. I forget the name of the engineer, but he made a really cool post and he talked about, hey, here's this massive, skyscraper in downtown of this big city. And it's been sold 7 times in the last 8 years. And every single time the real estate agent makes 5 to 7%. And the original engineer that designed it made 2 to 3% once. And he's like, we're idiots. Like, what are we doing? Like, this makes no sense. Out of all the people that were involved to keep people safe, it was the guy doing paperwork for a mortgage? No, probably not, right? It's the dude figuring out how to keep the building up and keep people safe.
Right.
The problem is our greatest strength and our greatest weakness is we won't say no and we always try to help. And the
Right.
problem is we never help ourselves.
Right.
And that's the hard part. So, like now, we're dealing with the repercussions. So, for years and years and years, and just take a few minutes and study demographics of our country, right? We had a massive baby boom, and there's tons and tons of engineers, and they're all competing against each other, and they're all working hard, and they're all trying to do things. Things don't really cost a lot because there's a lot of things available because there's a lot of people. Okay.
Yeah.
Well, what ends up happening? All the good dudes who try to help people out build businesses that don't really make a lot of money and don't do really well when suddenly things change. And now you're in a world where now it's cutthroat. Now you're really going after each other. Now you've got lots of work and lots of liability, but not able to do stuff with it. And you've got engineers that didn't learn how to run their business, right? They're
Yeah.
really good at being engineers and they absolutely suck at cash flow and negotiations and insurance and risk management and writing proposals and doing sales and doing marketing and all that kind of stuff, right?
Yeah.
They're terrible at it. And I think that's kind of like if we get nothing else out of this, Chad, that's kind of the calling that I'm banging the drum for right now.
Yeah.
So one of the things we've tried to do with my engineering company, like we're in the same as every other engineer. We try to help, right? So as customers come to us with more and more problems, we try to build out solutions. And the thing is now it's extended beyond engineering. We don't just do engineering anymore. We sat down and we said, well, hey, we need lots of work and lots of leads and really good customers that pay us lots of money for things we do really well. Let's build out a marketing machine. And we're engineers. Let's do it like engineers. So we did that. And suddenly we had way too much work. And we're like,
Yeah.
oh crap. Now we get to say no to customers, right? Now we get to tell that guy, no, I'm not doing $10,000 worth of work for $1,000 that you'll pay me 120 days from now. Now I want my money up front and I want 5 times as much. And I can do that because I have more leads, right?
Right.
And they were like, well, hey, now we have too much work. Why don't we start finding other engineers that can do work for us, right? We built out a big vendor department, almost like an Upwork of engineers. And
Yeah.
the cool thing we started noticing is going back to that boomer generation, those guys, there are thousands and thousands of engineers out there that are still available to work, but don't want to work 40 hours a week. They don't want to work in a sweatshop. They don't
Mm.
want to sit in traffic. They just want to help, right?
Yep.
So what we've tried to do is find those guys and say, hey, we've got an option for you. You can just work on one project. You can work on 20 hours a week. You can do whatever you want. We've got work for you. But we
Yep.
need you teaching someone how to do what you've been doing.
Yep.
We only like we need you to hand it off, right? We've actually got one engineer that works 2 weeks a year. So if you miss him 50 weeks later, you can get him back. And he's like my new idol, right? Like, how awesome is that?
Where's he at? In Costa Rica, hanging out on an island somewhere? What's going on?
Scotia is where his license is. And luckily, we don't do a whole lot of work up there, I guess. So, anyway, every once in a while, we hit him up. He's a pretty cool dude. All right. So, as again, there's so many different routes to take here. And the drum that I'm banging is we've got to help these people.
We
Like,
do.
we need to keep the engineer engineering, we need to keep the welder welding, the fabricator fabricating, and we'll handle everything else. So going back to the marketing that I was talking about,
Mhm.
we built a machine for ourselves, and it's actually spun off into its own company now. Phoenix Technical Marketing now does marketing for other engineers, fab shops, and all of our customers and our competitors that we used to have, right?
That's awesome.
It'll do $1 million this year on its own. It's just gotten started. It'll be a massive company because engineers are great at engineering and doing things. They're absolutely terrible at marketing and selling.
Right.
Really interesting is now that we have the marketing company up, we've realized, well, then now they suck at selling and they really suck at doing estimating. So now we're building out an estimating company and probably doing sales training. And on the very back end of it, we realized, and they don't ask for their money up front. They don't actually run out their cost structure. They don't know their overhead factors. They don't know what margins they need to be making. We'll run their books for them. We'll bring in fractional CFOs to help them out. We'll create training for them, all those kind
Yep.
of things, right? And so we're in the middle of working all those out, and those will probably be all separate companies at some point working under the Phoenix umbrella. But
Yeah.
the whole point of that is there are so many people out there that need help right now.
There
And
is.
there's so few of us actually doing work. But let me really hammer it home, Chad. So in the last 6 weeks, we've gotten 5 new customers because their engineer died.
Oh, wow.
That's how bad it is. We don't have anybody, and I can't get this through. I'm out in 8th grade talking to kids. I've taught at the local university. I've got my YouTube channel. Any kid I can talk to, I talk to. Hey, what do you want to do in life? Hey, how about welding and making 150 grand a year? Hey, how about being an engineer that runs his own business so he can make money?
Yeah.
That's what's out there, and that's what we've got to do to help people. So anyway, that was a long diatribe for you.
Yeah. No, look, I think that's where I'm seeing the same thing. We're very much in alignment. Is like after we, what I started to see first was like the engineers were charging X amount of dollars to do things that were already simplified, like using robots to do analysis, right? I was like, why are we still manually inspecting manholes, for example, at $550 and then charging hourly rates to do defect coding, right? It's like, why? Like, robots do that.
Sure.
And why are we charging 500 some dollars to do that? And then I was like, okay, well, I'll just build a solution to streamline it and help the project owners just get all the data, use robots, cut my cost, and simplify it and get it in weeks, not months, right? The data. So that was kind of my eye-opening experience. And then I saw the construction specs with the procurement side, and I started getting a contracting side of the business because we were inspecting, finding the problems, and they're like, "Hey, can you fix it for us? Because we don't have any contractors, right?" So I'm like, "Oh, well, I guess so. Yeah, why not? We'll figure it out." So that's how this startup did for me the last time. And then I saw the procurement problems, and I was like, "Wait a minute, these guys." These contractors are getting hit with construction specs that make no sense. They're redundant. They had no clue. They were copy and paste together. I was like, we got to fix procurement. And then I started realizing as I've done this for the last couple of years, like it's not just procurement. It's deeper than that. It's the level of talent that we're getting, like you're talking about. This is wild. So how do you think
The
we can bridge the gap? Like what are you thinking?
Well, I know how we can bridge the gap, and it's on us. Like,
Yeah.
any engineer that works for us, anyone that I come in contact with, anyone that I talk to, the question to ask them is, who are you teaching right now?
Mm,
And for me, like, that's actually gone a level above. Like, for years and years and years on my wall over here was my prime directive, which was to change a life every day. And for years, I did that, right? And then it hit me that that wasn't big enough. Like, we've got to do more. So my new directive is I create people who create people.
love
Like,
it.
that's what we've got to do now, Chad. We've got to go find those young bucks that don't think they can do it, that are dying of imposter syndrome, that don't have a step by step, that aren't guaranteed it's going to happen. And we've got to find a way to get them to do it. We've got to
Yeah.
help them. We've got to show them. And here's the problem. Okay, let's go back to the boomer generation. There were gajillions of them. So to help one another was to help your competitor and slash your own throat and not be able to feed your own family, right?
Right.
So they had a huge adhesion to helping other people, right?
Right.
But now we got to get them to do that because now there's one of them instead of seven. And now there's none coming behind them. I mean, my generation, Gen X, was the smallest ever until now Gen A, right?
Yeah.
There aren't any of us. You know, we regularly get customers. I went down 7 roads and you're at the end of all of them. And that might mean I'm good, but that probably means I'm the only one left, right?
Yeah.
And again, customers coming, their engineer died, not retired, not doesn't do it anymore, not isn't happy. We have countless customers right now talking about they really need to talk to us because their engineer is 85
Wow.
and he's still trying to help them, right?
That's
Because he's
wild.
the only person they got. We don't
Yeah.
have anybody, Chad, and it's in all of the trades.
Yeah.
And that's why I think our calling is to help all these people, right? It's a fab shop. We've lost 2 fab shop customers because they wouldn't listen about getting their money up front. So they had enough cash flow to buy their material to start the project.
Yeah.
Right. They're getting absolutely destroyed in construction with these terms that they dump on these fab shops and GCs and fabricators and installers that are stupid. They're archaic. They're asinine.
Yeah.
They're a product of something we did 100 years ago where you would eventually get paid, you're cool. Well, that's a problem now. Like, who's not used? I mean, do you make an order on Amazon and you get it and then you pay them 90 days later? That's not how the world works anymore, right, Chad?
Not at all.
Right? You go to a restaurant, you're like, hey, I'm going to eat all I want today and then I'll pay you in like 90 to 120 days. Hell no, right?
Not at
Well,
all.
why do we do that in engineering? Why do we do that in fabrication? Well, I won't get the work. Dude, you have 300 proposals sitting on your desk to write. What do you mean you won't get the work?
Yeah.
There isn't anyone. I get asked every day for, do you know any fab shops? And you're telling me you have to give away terms and conditions and finance their project just to get it? That's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Sure, that's what happened 35 years ago, but we're not living 35 years ago anymore. And that's the message we've got to get out to them, right? Like,
Yeah.
say no, double your prices, ask for your money up front. We were one of the first engineers to take a credit card. How dumb is that? I mean, every single corporate guy we work for wants to use his Amex and get some points, right?
Right.
How long did it take us to set up? Like 3 minutes. Like, come
Yeah.
on. We're not living in the past anymore. We've got to get our money. We've got to charge enough. We've got to help each other. We've got to pass leads and information to each other. We've got to work in our areas of expertise and be really good at it. And the thing is, Chad, you were just saying it a minute ago, when you start really scratching away at the surface, there are a gajillion opportunities.
Oh, this is just the beginning. You're right. Then
Every time you get anything fixed, the thing sitting next to it needs so much help. It's insane, right?
oh
Just
yeah.
think about building out a plant. What can no one find? A surveyor. Well, it's going
Yeah.
to be hard to start without surveying the land. And then what do they need? They need a real estate agent. Well, we don't know anybody that does industrial work. Okay. We haven't even gotten to designing it. And then when it's done designing, who are they going to get to build it?
Right.
There's nobody,
It's wild.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing. And that's what we've tried to do is try to be the connection for that. We very often have customers working for customers for other customers for other customers and it all runs through us. And it's just because we're trying to help, man. Like,
Yeah.
that's our thing.
Oh, sorry. I was going to say, I've had consultants come to me. I didn't know exactly what they wanted or what they were looking for, but they were looking for projects, obviously, or opportunities. And I said to them, I said, well, look, you can use social media, kind of like what you do, right? You're obviously you're just like, I'm just going to figure this out and just monetize and help everybody else, right? So you've been already proving the need is there. And I said to him, like, look, just get on social media and start presenting your project, start talking about your project, what's your skill set? What do you do? Like, how can you present yourself is what you need to do. And they were just like, yeah, I'm not comfortable with that. I'm like, but if I do it, then I'm going to charge for that. Right. If I'm like, that's what firms do. They charge for you, right? They're going to make money off of you because they're doing the work and you can easily do it now on social media. So I think it's really interesting how you're approaching it in a new way of just more focused on helping the individuals, educate them and getting them out there and showing as a leader what it takes. Because you don't see a lot of guys like you doing it.
So the process, right? So some of the guys in my company, including myself, we teach at university often. Well,
Yeah.
we've got an opportunity to talk to the kids, get them in industry, and they could be potential staff or customers, right? We're looking at building out, a lot of videos on my YouTube channel or how to negotiate your job offer and how to ask for money and how to find your job and how to go get the job you want instead of hitting apply and then hoping someone calls you back. The whole hiring that's going on in the technical trades right now is the stupidest thing I've ever seen in my life because you've got to let's just ham on that for a minute. So you've got a ton of kids that were taught by people who, when they did it in back in the day, you sent in an application, you faxed in your resume, you just showed up and started working, and that worked, right? So what do they tell their kids? What they know how to do. Does that work nowadays? Hell no, it doesn't work nowadays. The
Nope.
problem is right now, what do kids do? Well, they look on Indeed or LinkedIn and they apply online and they hope. Well, what happens? They get filtered, right?
Yep.
And here's the thing, who are they getting filtered by? Stupid people in HR that are junking up the process, right?
So true.
They're asking for, well, what about this gap in your resume? Dude, I went skiing for 6 months because knew I would work the rest of my life. Okay, cool. That doesn't make you a bad engineer. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Yeah.
What I try to teach the kids is go find someone that's doing what you want to do and then hit them up. Hey, dude, if I Uber Eats you lunch, could I get 5 minutes of your time? Hey,
Yeah.
tell me about what you do. I'm trying to work in your career. Do you know anyone that knows anyone that could help me?
Yeah.
What's
That's
going to happen? They're going to hire you,
that's
and they're
exactly
going to.
what I'm doing right.
And this is the guy I want to hire. Screw all that process stuff. That's ridiculous, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they're like, that's not going to work. I'm like, who do you want to work for? And they're like, so and so. I'm like, well, here's their phone number and their dog's eye color and them in their driveway right now, like, and their email and their LinkedIn and their TikTok and their Instagram and their message. Why don't we just hit them up? Well, what do you mean? Well, just call them. Like, you could do that. Like, why don't we do it right now? I
Yeah.
had a girl in class one time. She was like, I don't think they're ever going to want to hire me. I'm like, you're female, you're an engineer, you're a nerd, you have blue hair and like a 4.9 GPA. Like you're
It's like a
exactly,
gold mine. It's like,
you could have any job you want. She's like, but when I apply, they don't get back to me. Why would you apply? Just
yeah.
call. Who do I work for? She's like, Boston Dynamics. I'm like, let's call them. She's like, how do I do that? I was like, you take out your phone and we dial this number up here on the screen. Well, she eventually did it. And what happened, Chad? She got in an interview with three other female engineers. She
That's awesome.
drove a robot on a video call, and they told her, when you send in your resume, call me and tell me it's in, and I will make sure it's seen by the right person.
Yeah.
And she ended up with multiple offers and is now working for DARPA. You know, she didn't think she could get a job. And if we come back to that for a minute, because that's kind of where we were a moment ago, how do we
Yeah.
help these people? How do we bridge the gap? We have to get through to the kids. We've got to get them through imposter syndrome because they don't think they're good enough. They need all those 3,000 likes from their buddies to tell them it's great before they'll even step forward. We've got to show them and help them create a success. And the problem is the people that can help them create that success are over here in the boomer generation, which thought it was competition and don't want to help anybody. And you should pull yourself up by your bootstraps and you should do it all yourself.
Yep.
Okay.
That's the
Let
problem.
me put a bow on this little section of it. So I'm at the gym the other day and I'm talking to this kid who works in construction. He was a special forces guy. He's come back, he's working in construction. And we were talking about the people coming to work now. And he's like, hey, if you need me to, like, have me talk to them and I'll scare them all off. I'm like, that's what we can't do right now because they don't have one. Okay, that worked. I'm a basketball coach. 30 years ago, you screamed at kids. Okay, that worked because if they didn't want to play, you just got the next kid. The problem is now we don't have any kids. So every single one of them, you've got to get something out of them. You've got to
Right.
help them see how they can help and how they fit in and work to their weaknesses and find a way to help them fit the whole puzzle and convince them that they can do it and go pick them up that morning and then halfway do it for them the first time to show them that they can do it and then let them off and go.
Yeah.
You've got to do that with every single anybody under 30 right now that has any inclination to do anything. If we're not helping them, we're failing the world right now.
You're exactly right. You're exactly right, man. I'm doing the same thing with my son right now. He's 16, and I'm like, he's not socially going to go out and just start knocking on doors like I used to. engaging with people and asking them if they needed a paper, right? I used to run a paper route, stuff like that was available. But now I'm looking at like all this blue collar work that needs to get done, right? Washing windows, helping do some lawn work, whatever, landscaping. There's a lot of need out there. And I said to him, I said, look, why don't we just spend $150, get some windshield washing, washing tools, I should say, and we'll just start knocking on doors and doing some work, see where it goes, and that's what we got to do. You're exactly right. Just start leading them the way because they don't know. They don't know
The
the difference.
hardest thing to do is to get started.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all of us that are already started, if you're not helping someone else start and you're not sending the elevator back down, you're failing us. You're
Yeah.
selfish.
Yeah.
Okay. Quit being selfish and get out here and help people, help the world because we got nobody. Again, 5 engineers in the last 6 weeks died.
It's wild.
That's insane. We were pricing out several of their projects to vendors in our network who have now also died.
Mm.
Okay. We don't have enough engineers. We don't have enough people doing stuff. Well, how do I get started? Well, if you've got no other path, like hit me up on LinkedIn or TikTok. I'll do a call with you and we'll figure it out.
Right.
Step two, is there anything you might want to do in this world? Okay, well, who's already doing that? And how did they get there? What degree do they have? What experience do they have? How do they get started? Call them right now.
Yep.
Well, how do I call them? You hit LinkedIn and send them a message. Well, how do I
Yep.
do that? Ask Chat GPT. Like, come on, like just get started. Like, do anything at all, ever.
I think you
And you'll
bring up
get.
a great.
Go ahead.
Go ahead. I was going to say, I think you're bringing up a great point. You kind of transitioned to AI there, which is a good conversation because where do you think AI is going to help us maybe fill in some of the void that's developing?
Well, we're going to have to, right? So
Yeah.
everything that went to China and to the rest of the world is now North America. So we've got to build plants that make computer chips, light bulbs, bread, you know, everything that we need to run society. And we have maybe a third of the people that we used to have. So it's not going to be people running these machines, right? These processes are all going to have to be automated, machines, something building something, making it happen, right? There's going to be so few humans available that you only put them in spots where they're the only thing that can do that thing, right?
Mhm.
We're going to have to work and leverage these tools. And you're doing well, like with your kid, the window washing business. Have Chat GPT do all of the initial business setup for them. Have it set up all of their checklists for their things. Have it continue to interact with these tools, but help them qualify it. I was at a dinner last night with a friend of mine's son. He was like, I want to be a drag racer." Okay, well, how much does that cost? Well, I don't know. Well, dude, you literally have all the information in the world in the palm of your hand. Just ask it. Oh, well, I could do that? Yeah.
That's
Hey,
wild.
Chat GPT, how much does it cost to start a drag racing team? And then we just walked our way through it. And then we got to a few spots, and I was like, okay, wait a minute. Notice what it said right there. What was its source? Oh, it says you got to buy this. Well, where did it get that source? Oh, from somebody that sells that. Okay. That's where we have to qualify this, right?
Yeah.
The problem is we have so much information that we don't know what's right. Okay.
Yeah.
So that's where we've got to teach the kids to try things, qualify them, and ask the next question of where that came from. Right. And that's where we could badly use these people that have the experience.
Yeah.
Could you come in here and show this kid how to ask a better question? Could you
Yeah.
come in and show this kid that, oh, don't do that. That's how you get robbed. Or don't do that. That's going to be a waste of time and money. Like
Right.
that's what we've got to put two together. We got you want to talk about bridge. That's the bridge we got to build. We got some civil engineers that can build a bridge. That's the one we need right now. Is how do
Yeah.
we bridge the old school experience and they've already failed a million times and actually being able to discuss with these young kids using the technology.
Yeah.
Because here's the thing, they're better than us. I will take 3 of them working together over 6 people from my generation, and they will outwork them like 4 to 1 because they
Yeah.
work together better. I'll give you a great example. In Atlanta, there was a local airsoft field, and the
Yeah.
Atlanta SWAT team went up and played against a bunch of 15 and 16-year-olds and got their ass handed to them because they work together better than older people do. They're
Yeah.
faster, they process information quicker, they make decisions faster. The problem is they won't get started.
Yeah.
So that's where we come in. We got to get them started, and then we got to steer them away from the cliff a little bit so we can get something done.
That's 100% true, man. I think that currently with the model that we have, as I post a lot, if we can't just put them in, sit them in a cubicle, and just to say, dudes, do design work, it's just not going to work. Because they're going to get that's exhausting to already just for me to think about it. Like sitting in a booth or sitting in a cubicle and told to design something I don't even know anything about. It's like, how, why, what? Like,
Here's a really big one. Like most of them have never wanted for anything. They've never gone through massive hardship, right?
right.
They've never wondered if they were going to eat the next day. The ones that have are crushing it.
Yeah.
The ones, the kids I have that came in from Venezuela that watched their house burn as they left and they have nothing to go back to, they
Yeah.
come in and they're starting businesses and they're taking over the world. They got this, but there's not enough of them, right?
Yeah.
A lot of kids have never faced any hardship, right? So they don't really have a why. They don't really have a what they're trying to do, right? They've never really wanted for anything.
Yeah.
You make 70, 80, 150K, whatever it is, depending on whether you got kids and you're married and all that. You can live an okay life,
Right.
right? What do you need? Gaming system, chair, headset, some food in the fridge, some, Uber Eats, and you're probably good, right?
That's it.
It doesn't take that much. So what we've got to do is we've got to intrigue them and excite them and give them something worth doing. And that's the biggest thing I noticed. Like I had a lot of trouble over the years in my company because I tried to build it for someone like me, right? I'm Gen X. I'm going to take over the world and tell you about it, right? I'm going to make a fortune and tell you about it, right? I'm going to
Yeah.
be a badass and I'm going to do it all myself. Okay, well that's not how they operate, right?
Right.
We got a big group of millennials that they don't want tons and tons of money. They saw their parents and grandparents do that, and it really didn't do much for them. Everybody's
Right.
in debt. Everything sucks, right? But then they see some people that are doing things like they want to do, like are going on trips and traveling and having experiences and all those kind of things. They tune into that, right?
Hmm.
Like if your company doesn't have a mission, you're going to have a lot of trouble hiring young kids.
Yeah.
If you can't clearly articulate what difference you make in the world, they're not there for money.
Right.
I've listened to tons of older customers. Oh, I try to pay these engineers to work on the weekend, but they just don't want the money. Like, dude, why don't you do better work during the week and pay them more money, and they still get to go out on the weekend? Like, why do they have to work all weekend? That's ridiculous.
Right.
Why can't they have a life? They're not you. Like,
Right.
let's just talk about that. You have a son. You said
Yeah.
how old?
16.
Okay. So let's say when your son was 8, what if you judged them with the frame of you at 35 years old?
Oh,
They would fail miserably, right?
yeah. That'd be bad.
That's fair. So anyone with 20 years of experience that judges how a kid with 2 acts, that's ridiculous.
It is.
That's not fair. You're being ridiculous. Don't do it, right? So what we've got to do is we've got to intrigue and excite them and give them a mission and give them something that matters because the money will be there with it. If you're in the technical trades, you're going to make good money,
Yeah.
okay? Because there's nobody else. Yeah, I've got a um, kid I know. He's 32 now. He's a machine tool major, works in a machine shop. The next youngest guy is 59, and they call that guy junior. Okay.
Oh,
And here's how he gets paid. His boss tells him, hey, Friday, I want you to go back to my desk drawer and open it, and there's cash, and just take whatever you want and come back on Monday. Like that's literally how he's paid because they need
wow.
him so badly. Okay. So again, the money's going to be there,
Yeah.
but don't make it a horrific work experience because you had a bad experience 35 years ago.
Good
Well, my
points.
boss always yelled at me. Well, I would fucking quit and go find a boss that doesn't yell at
Right.
me, right? I don't have to do that. You had to do that because you couldn't work anywhere else because there were a gajillion of you competing for the same job. Now
Hmm.
there's one of us competing for 8 jobs. Like
Yeah.
you need to make it fun. You need to make it good. You need to show me a growth plan. You need to show me how I make a difference in the world and pay me decently.
Yeah.
I don't need tons of money, but I need to feel respected, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
we've got to do that for these kids. We've got to, why would they leave an air conditioned couch where they were talking with their buddies, playing their favorite game, doing whatever they want with Uber Eats, showing up 5 minutes later, and they can click a button to get anything from Amazon immediately. Why would
Right.
they leave that to go sit and get yelled at in a terrible cubicle with bad lighting doing something that means nothing? Why would they do that?
Yeah. And we wonder why, why it's the situation we're in
They
right
don't work anymore. We pay terrible and the job is awful and no one will show up. Like, no way. Who would
now.
have
I wonder
thought?
why.
Yeah.
Zane, this has been the Zane experience, my man. I've never had the like the excitement and the vibe and the education that you brought to the table today. It's been very enlightening and confirmation of like what we're all trying to do here was bring light to an industry that's been neglected for a long time, and no one's really brought any kind of content, at least social media wise, where everybody's kind of at. You got to meet people where they're at, right? That's where, even when it's recruiting or finding this young talent, meet people where they're at. Where are they at? They're on their phones. They're doing those things. Why are we going to sit in high schools and colleges when they're on their phones? Like, get on the phone, and you'll start to find the right people to whatever you need, right? So it's very interesting. But this has been a very awesome interview, podcast, I should say, and I look forward to maybe doing some more. But how can people get a hold of you, and how would you like to end this?
Well, getting a hold of me, phoenixengineering.com is our company. You can find us Phoenix Engineering. Our marketing's pretty good, so our ad spend will probably get in front of you. Zane Engineers Life is my YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, all of that. I'm on LinkedIn, Zane Pucylowski. Probably only one of those out there. So that's easy to find. And how I want to leave it is what impact can we make in the world, right? It and it's not even what can I be doing, it's what should I be doing, right? If you have the talent and you have the skill set and you have the ability and you have the desire to do something in the technical trades and you're not doing it right now, could you quit being selfish? Could you come help us? We need it. We need it badly. There's no one to do all this work. There's massive amounts of it to go. There are many, 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 many opportunities. If you're doing something that you don't like, stop doing that like right now. Like, let's find you something you like to do. There are
Yeah,
so many opportunities that need you badly. You are badly needed. You are badly wanted. We got to have you. So that's my final message to everybody. Hit
I
me
love
up. Anything that I can do to help you out, I will give anyone 5 minutes. Chad, if you want to hit me up and we do one of these a week or a month for the next forever, and if we want to bring in some other people, let's do it.
it. Yeah,
And if any of you kids are out there that just want a few minutes, get a couple of you together. I do lots of calls. I post them on YouTube. There's tons of information. If you need help getting a job or figuring out your money or figuring out your why in life, all of that's out there. Let's make it happen.
I love it, Zane. Thank you so much for being a part of the show today.
All right. Have a good one.